When we tackle quality, the first thing that we look at is the why behind it. Sepsis is a perfect example of that, where it's easy to get people engaged in quality when they know that it actually affects people's lives. If you make sure that you're following the right protocols, in most cases, it will have a profound impact. So from a leadership perspective, that's easy.
Between January and May of this year, 2015, we've saved 29 lives. And so if we annualize that for the rest of the year, we will save over 65 lives.
We wrote new order sets that are in our electronic order entry system that actually are just labeled sepsis diagnosis, sepsis treatment, so that we could absolutely throw those orders down as fast as we could identify patients. Well, that's education between nursing and our physicians, so everybody on board knows when they're looking at a septic patient.
When we looked at the data and we looked at where our mortality rate was coming from, one of the things we noticed quite often is that it was from patients being transferred to us from outlying facilities. We treat patients from all over the region, mostly the state of Kansas, but also other states. And so it was imperative for us to connect with all the hospitals throughout the states.
One of the big things that we really worked on is just treating that patient before they transfer. I think in the past, a lot of sepsis protocols out in rural Kansas was recognizing that their patient was really sick and then sending them to Wesley, not treating them with antibiotics and fluid resuscitation before they left. So by the time they got to us, these patients were really sick.
These smaller hospitals that transfer to us, they're starting to provide evidence-based care for these patients. They're doing well. And we are seeing these patients come in and they're faring better than they used to. And it's very exciting to see these hospitals start implementing things and helping in the process of saving lives. I started out as a brand new nurse in a small 25-bed critical access hospital in Kansas, and I know what it's like to have your phlebotomist or your lab tech or your x-ray tech at a child's ball game on call in the middle of the night or on a weekend. And I know what it's like to not have the resources that we have here. Collecting data and analyzing it actually helps me know where our opportunities for improvement are. I try and do real-time data. It's hard sometimes to identify these patients in-house, but it can be done. And I go from unit to unit on a daily basis. I track the mortalities and our transfers because of our outreach and the education that we're doing across the state.
Data is very important because, one, you have to know if you're making the mark. When these are very set parameters, you have to know that you're getting the right amount of fluid in. You're really getting 30 cc's per kilo on the mark.
We collect a lot of data points, but there are real lives behind every one of those points. It's really exciting when you see it work and you see that patient that was not doing really well up walking the hallways 3 days later, getting ready to discharge home.
My advice is always go to the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? When you look at quality, it's all about people and it's all about patients. And as long as you're looking at the why and attacking the data for a reason, don't show people data, show them the reasons why. And the data is simply a way of measuring your success around people.
My background is critical care ICU, and I love being a nurse. Moving into the quality role, I now have the opportunity to make a difference in all of our patients' lives.
I'd say most proud is when that frontline staff member, a nurse, a new nurse that's kind of young out of their training, walks in a room and says, I think this is sepsis, and calls the alert, or makes that phone call to the physician at 2 in the morning that's not in-house and says, I've got a septic patient here, and they won't let up. They're relentless to get their patient treated. That's when it's pretty exciting.